Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Modern Warfare In Depth Season 4 patch notes. We are halfway into the life cycle of Modern Warfare and they are coming out swinging. We have a lot to talk about today. I'm going to be giving you basic stats and some gameplay of both of the new weapons, the Fennec or Vector SMG and the CR-56 or Galil assault rifle. There's new maps, there's new modes, there's massive updates, there's been changes to Battle Royale, and just a metric ton of stuff to go over. But the first thing I want to go over is the Battle Pass. The brand new Battle Pass is out with some great skins, and once again, both of the brand new weapons are free in the Battle Pass at level 15 and 31 respectively. Here's a few of the items that I noticed right off the bat. The level 1 reward is the Captain, which is the classic Captain Price. You get a prisoner shank knife, which is kind of funny in my opinion. This is what the Fennec looks like, which is the Vector, the Galil. You get a really interesting watch that gives you a mini-map. I think that could be useful in hardcore because it's live apparently. The most hilarious Uzi variant that I've ever seen that actually looks kind of good, to be honest. A helicopter skin I'm going to be unlocking eventually, and a very nice Vector. There's a ton of good items here. There's a bunch of new operators and guns, but those are the ones that immediately caught my attention today. And now without any further ado, let's jump into the stats of the new weapons, starting with the Fennec SMG. Handling stats are pretty straightforward. Aim down sights time is 213 milliseconds. Sprint out time is 133 milliseconds. This is overall very snappy, but not that abnormal for a submachine gun. The damage stats are a little bit odd. Your body shots will deal 25 damage up close, but then drop off to a pathetic 15 damage at range. It's a little bit less than that for legs, and headshots kind of cap out at 40. So it's a very low damage SMG, probably one of the lowest damage weapons in the game. So you would ask, okay, well, why is it any good? Why would I use it if the damage is so low? And the answer is that it fires at over 1,000 RPM, 1,080 rounds per minute to be precise. That's close to 1,100. And that gives it a very fast time to kill of 167 milliseconds in base multiplayer and about 500 milliseconds in Warzone if you're hitting your shots. These are very competitive time to kills. In no uncertain terms, the Fennec is an insanely strong SMG that you will unlock very quickly and for free. I would expect to see it being very popular in base multiplayer in Warzone and lots of people running it. And while it is awesome due to time to kill and rate of fire, it does have some pretty significant downsides, such as its damage per shot is super low. Range is also very, very low. The damage fall off is almost immediate. The recoil is hard to master. And you only get 25 rounds in the magazine, so basically by the time you're done spraying somebody, you have to reload. It's really kind of a kill one, maybe two people at a time kind of weapon. And interestingly, it seems like you can convert it into a DMR with certain attachments. It has hollow point rounds much like the UMP, which give it a 12 round total 2-round burst mag, which is very small but increased range and damage. And some other ones I wanted to show off in the muzzle category attachment is the ZLR Saber suppressor, which is very similar to the Colossus suppressor on the Odin, reducing range and increasing range and reducing recoil. And there's a couple of massive barrels, even one with an integrated suppressor you can put on the weapon, which is very efficient. You can put on a 40-round drum mag, which I think is going to be very helpful. And there, of course, is the hollow points as well. I haven't had time to test all of the attachments and see what the Fennec can be, but I have a feeling that it can be a DMR. I think the 40-round mags are going to be incredibly popular, especially in Warzone, and I think it can be a fantastic weapon when properly kitted. Now let's move on to the CR-56 AMAX assault rifle. I'm just going to call it the CR-56 for the rest of this episode because that's simpler for me. Handling stats are more in line with the AK-47, aim down sights time of 283 milliseconds. Sprint out time is 267. These are very similar to AK-47, and I noticed it was handling really slow, so I measured super sprint and found it at 400 milliseconds. I personally thought that was slow, but after consulting with Exclusive Ace, he says that's normal for assault rifles. However, I do want to point out that, well, we'll talk about it later, it felt very, very slow handling, slower than the stats indicated, and I'm not sure why. Damage is quite impressive. It's very similar to the AK-47 with 56 to 45 for headshots, very impressive at long ranges. Chest is 42 to 33, and the stomach or legs are going to deal the same at 35 to 28. So pretty much a 3-shot kill anywhere in base multiplayer. Warzone will change that up, and kind of depending on your range, of course, as well. So let's take a look at the time to kill and rate of fire stats and all that. It'll shoot at 630 rounds per minute, which is significantly faster than the AK-47, thus giving it a faster than AK-47 time to kill of 190 milliseconds, which I do want to point out is quite fast and is quite competitive. The time to kill at 250 HP in Warzone is 476 milliseconds, which is incredibly fast and is incredibly competitive, at least compared to most of the popular weapons. So we got a great time to kill, but subjectively the sprint out times and overall handling stats on this weapon feel very slow. You can see me struggling to get gameplay with it. I felt like I was being handicapped. I felt like I couldn't react. It felt like a pre-fire only kind of weapon. I'm gonna have to dive further into the stats and testing to see if I can figure that out. Recoil's nothing amazing either. It's probably a little bit less than the AK, but not tremendously. It has a little bit of an odd pattern that shoots 2 shots straight ahead and then kind of jumps over to the left, so I'm not exactly sure. I'm kind of hoping that the time to kill keeps it competitive and popular, and I think that the CR-56 could be quite a good weapon with the right attachments, but it's not going to replace the Growl anytime soon. Pretty much no matter how you kit this weapon, even if it kills faster than the Growl, it's still going to handle slower and be overall less reliable. So as far as Warzone is concerned, I would expect to see Growl staying as king, though interestingly this does have an ammo conversion, a little 10-round mag here that turns it into a single fire DMR. It's not like the SOCOM rounds, you can't go full auto, and it shoots kind of slowly. It almost turns it more into an SKS, which is very unusual in my opinion. We're gonna have to do a lot of testing on that later. Infinity Ward has changed up the specialist bonus by adding new weapon perks to your weapon. It's pretty much all of them at once. It was almost too many to list. So if you get your specialist bonus, you get frangible, disabling, and wounding, Mo Money, Recon, Heavy Hitter, FMJ, and Presence of Mind. So you're very, very loaded with gun perks, FMJ and the frangible ones probably being the overall most valuable. When it comes to new maps, Trench Mosh Pit 2v2 has been added. It's kind of fun. The Trench is a gunfight map, but it's just big enough to have a little goofy mosh pit kind of thing going on. I think you're going to see a lot of people leveling up their Fennecs there. Scrapyard is back as well. I find that it plays a little bit oddly. There's something about mounting and climbing and movement and the lighting that isn't quite tickling the nostalgia here. It's still Scrapyard. I still know how to play it, but something feels different about it. The new ground war map is Barakat Promenade, which is just Promenade West from Warzone. I don't think that's anything new or special that you guys haven't played before, but it'll be a little different in ground war capping objectives and stuff. Warzone's changed up a little bit. You know, we have new ground loot and some new contracts and stuff. The Most Wanted has returned, but they also added a new mode, which is called Warzone Rumble. This is a 50v50 team deathmatch mode where the map is a little bit smaller. It's kind of probably, I would say, like a last circle, or not, probably like next to last circle kind of map, but they're quite small. They're smaller than ground war maps. You don't get armor, but you do get to pick your loadouts. And I gotta tell you, I do not like this mode at all. The way that they pick the maps and the way that they laid it out means that you pretty much need to use a sniper rifle or you kill yourself. You spawn in weirdly, floating in on parachutes. The center of the map is a sniper fest. The outside of the map often doesn't have enough, or flank routes don't have enough cover. You can't get close to enemies. You can't do anything. You get shot while you're spawning because you float in and people can just snipe you. When I snuck over to the enemy side of the map, I was able to just look up and pick off parachute boys right and left. Your choices when you play this 50v50 mode are to snipe or maybe use the Odin a little bit, and that's kind of all that you're going to be able to do. I don't find it to be a particularly skillful or fun mode. I think a lot of people will play it to level up their snipers and weapons and do challenges and, you know, stuff like that, see how big a streak they can go on, but it's very campy and, in my opinion, not very rewarding. Warzone now has fire sales where everything is massively discounted for a short period of time, and self-revives are even free, or some other items. I haven't tested exactly how this mechanic works, but once the fire sale is active, you could buy anything you want for $3,000 in the box. It's ridiculous. Everything is so cheap. You can do the advanced UAV strategy for as little as $2,400, which is very impressive because my UAVs were only $800 each. It was just, I think that the goal here is to cause people to fight over the buy stations, and I think that's going to be very interesting in the future of Warzone. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know how it's going to pan out exactly, but it was fun for me the first time I did it. Jailbreak allows for all players who are completely dead and gulagged to escape instantly. So this is kind of interesting. As long as your team hasn't been completely eliminated, everybody gets out. This isn't a contract, this is just an event that happens. Just kind of randomly, the jailbreak happens and everybody respawns. Didn't happen to me, haven't experienced it, don't know how it works. And we did actually get the ultra rare Contraband contract that allows you to permanently unlock blueprints. So the way this happens is when you finish a contract in Warzone, there's a very small chance that a special Contraband contract will show up. You can pick that up and you can carry the contract itself to a special extraction zone on the map. If you do that, you'll permanently unlock this season's blueprint or multiple blueprints, I don't know. We actually got it on our first game of Warzone tonight at like 4 in the morning when all the super sweaty PC and EU boys were on, and we got cheesed. We couldn't complete it. I don't have footage of it. I will have it later, and I will be doing a tutorial of it. And there's some neat stuff coming later in the season. There's Juggernaut Royale, which is going to be Battle Royale, but each team has a Juggernaut to protect, which is going to, or some number of Juggernauts to protect and fight over, which is going to be insane. And I think that the explosive tip crossbow is going to be very, very popular in this mode for dropping those jugs. There's Realism Warzone coming later this season. I think that it might replace solos or duos or one of these other modes because we can only have so many at a time. I don't know how much I'm going to like this. Personally, I haven't been very big on Realism mode, but that's okay. I'll try to, you know, make do and at least give it a fair shot. And for multiplayer, we have One in the Chamber, All or Nothing, and Team Defender coming later this season, along with, at least according to the Reddit data miners, another sniper rifle, which is the Barrett 50 cal, and I hope that comes out, and I hope it's fun. Guys, that is all for today's video on Modern Warfare. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm editing here at like 6 in the morning to try to get these patch notes live in time. I'll be doing full in-depths on the new guns very soon, and some PlayStation coverage and a lot of stuff, so you'll be seeing a lot of my beautiful face. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.